You've been taught to play fair your entire life, to be kind, to follow the rules, and that's exactly why you're losing. Because while you're being nice, someone else is taking what you want, your opportunities, your respect, your power. 500 years ago, a man named Machiavelli understood something most people will never admit. The world doesn't reward goodness. It rewards those who understand how power actually works. And what he discovered will make you question everything you've been told about success. Type this affirmation in the comments section. I see the world as it is, not as I wish it to be. Here's your problem. You've been conditioned to believe that if you work hard, stay humble, and treat people well, everything will fall into place. But it doesn't. You watch less talented people get promoted. You see manipulators win arguments. You notice that the loudest voice in the room gets the credit, not the one who did the work. And deep down, you feel cheated. You feel naive. Because somewhere along the way, you realized the game has different rules than the ones you were taught. You're playing chess while everyone else is playing poker. And they're bluffing. The uncomfortable truth? Most people are operating from a script written by those already in power. A script designed to keep you compliant, predictable, and easy to control. You've been domesticated. And until you recognize that, you'll keep wondering why life feels so unfair. Affirmation: I refuse to be naive about how the world works. In 1513, Niccolo Machiavelli wrote a book that got him exiled, banned, and condemned by the church. The Prince wasn't a fairy tale about leadership. It was a surgical dissection of power. And what made it dangerous wasn't that it was evil. It was that it was true. Machiavelli looked at history, at emperors, kings, generals, and merchants, and asked one question: what actually works? Not what should work, not what sounds noble, what works. And here's what you found. Power doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care if you're a good person. It cares about results. And the people who succeed are the ones who understand this and act accordingly. Let me give you an example. Imagine two leaders. Leader A is beloved, kind, generous, always trying to make everyone happy. Leader B is respected, calculated, strategic, and makes hard decisions without flinching. When a crisis hits, who survives? History shows us again and again, Leader B. Because Leader A is too worried about being liked to do what's necessary. Machiavelli said it bluntly: it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Not because fear is good, but because love is unreliable. People love you when it's convenient, they fear you when there are consequences. And in the real world, consequences create respect. But here's the twist most people miss. Machiavelli wasn't teaching you to be cruel. He was teaching you to be awake, to stop pretending the world runs on fairness and start seeing it for what it is: a game of strategy, perception, and positioning. The ruthless part isn't about hurting people. It's about refusing to hurt yourself by staying blind. Type this affirmation in the comment section: I prioritize results over approval. So how do you actually apply this? How do you adopt a Machiavellian mindset without becoming a villain? Let's break it down into practical principles you can use starting today. Principle 1. Master the art of strategic visibility. Machiavelli understood that perception is power. It's not enough to be competent, you must be seen as competent. Think about your workplace. Who gets promoted? Often it's not the person doing the most work, it's the person whose work is most visible. The one who speaks up in meetings, the one who sends the well-timed email, the one who subtly reminds leadership of their contributions. This isn't manipulation, it's reality. If you do brilliant work in silence, you'll be rewarded with more silent work. Document your wins, communicate your value, control the narrative before someone else does. Here's a micro action. After completing a project, send a summary email to relevant stakeholders highlighting the outcome and impact. Not bragging, framing. You're teaching people how to see you. Principle 2. Never reveal your full hand. Machiavelli advised leaders to keep their intentions hidden until the moment of action. Why? Because predictability is a weakness. When people know exactly what you want, they can block you. When they know exactly what you'll do, they can manipulate you. This doesn't mean lie, it means be selective. Share your goals with people who can help you, not people who can sabotage you. Keep your strategy private. Move quietly until you're ready to move decisively. Think about negotiations. The person who shows desperation loses. The person who appears to have options, even if they don't, wins. Poker players call this table image. Machiavelli called it statecraft. You should call it survival. Type this affirmation in the comments section. I move with intention and speak with precision. Principle 3. Build alliances based on mutual benefit, not sentiment. Here's where most people fail. They treat relationships like friendships when they're actually partnerships. Machiavelli was ruthlessly pragmatic about this. He said, men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. Translation, people act out of self-interest. And that's not cynical, it's freeing. Because once you understand this, you stop wasting energy trying to make people like you and start creating situations where helping you helps them. Let me show you what this looks like. You want a promotion. Instead of hoping your boss notices your hard work, you identify what your boss is being measured on. Maybe it's increasing team efficiency or hitting quarterly targets. Then you align your contributions directly to those metrics. You make their success dependent on your success. That's a Machiavellian strategy, not manipulation, alignment. In your personal life, this means surrounding yourself with people who elevate you, not drain you. It means recognizing when someone's in your life out of convenience, not commitment. And it means being willing to distance yourself from relationships that no longer serve mutual growth. This isn't cold, it's honest. Machiavelli understood that loyalty without reciprocity is just exploitation wearing a smile. Principle 4. Embrace conflict as information. Most people avoid conflict because they've been taught it's bad. Machiavelli saw it differently. Conflict reveals truth. When someone opposes you, they're showing you their priorities, their fears, their leverage points. That's valuable data. Instead of taking disagreement personally, study it. Ask yourself, what does this person actually want? What are they protecting? What are they afraid of losing? Once you see the pattern, you can respond strategically instead of emotionally. Here's a real-world example. Someone at work constantly undermines your ideas in meetings. The emotional response is to get defensive or withdraw. The Machiavellian response, observe. Are they threatened by your competence? Are they protecting their own position? Are they performing for someone else in the room? Once you identify the motive, you can neutralize it, not through confrontation, but through positioning. Maybe you loop them into your next project early so they have ownership. Maybe you publicly credit them for an adjacent idea so they feel valued. Maybe you can outmaneuver them by building stronger alliances with decision makers. The point is, conflict isn't personal, it's strategic. And strategy requires calm observation, not emotional reaction. Affirm this. I respond to challenges with clarity, not emotion. Principle 5. Timing is everything. Machiavelli wrote extensively about fortuna, fortune, or timing. He believed that while you can't control external circumstances, you can control your readiness to exploit them. The ruthless mindset isn't about forcing outcomes. It's about positioning yourself so that when opportunity appears, you're the obvious choice. This requires patience, preparation, and pattern recognition. Think about it. Every major career move, relationship shift, or financial breakthrough happens because someone was ready when the moment arrived. They'd built the skills, nurtured the relationships, and positioned themselves strategically so that when the door opened, they walked through it, while others were still figuring out where the door was. Practical application. Stop waiting for perfect circumstances. Start building leverage in the background. Learn the skill before you need it. Build the relationship before you need the favor. Establish credibility before you need the platform. Machiavelli said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." The fool reacts, the strategist anticipates. Here's a micro strategy. Identify 3 areas where you're one skill or connection away from a major opportunity, and then systematically close those gaps over the next 90 days. When the moment comes, and it will, you won't be scrambling, you'll be ready.
Principle 6. Protect your reputation like your life depends on it, because it does. Machiavelli understood that power is fragile. One scandal, one betrayal, one public failure can destroy decades of careful positioning. That's why he advised leaders to manage perception obsessively. Not through fakery, but through consistency. Your reputation is the story people tell about you when you're not in the room, and that story either opens doors or closes them. This means, keep your word, deliver on commitments, don't overpromise, don't get caught in lies, not because lying is immoral, but because getting caught destroys trust, and trust is currency. Be known for something specific and valuable. If people can't summarize who you are and what you do in one sentence, your brand is too weak. And here's the shadow side. Protect yourself from those who would damage your reputation. Machiavelli warned, men ought either to be indulged or utterly destroyed, for if you merely offend them, they take vengeance. Translation: don't create enemies carelessly. If you must oppose someone, do it decisively, or don't do it at all. Half measures create resentment, full measures create respect or remove threats. This isn't about cruelty, it's about not leaving yourself vulnerable to retaliation. Type this affirmation in the comments section. My reputation is built on consistency and results. Now let's go deeper, because the most ruthless part of Machiavelli's philosophy isn't what he said about others, it's what he said about yourself. He wrote, "Entrepreneurs are simply those who understand that there is little difference between obstacle and opportunity." The true Machiavellian mindset requires radical self-honesty. You have to look at yourself the way a strategist looks at a chessboard, objectively. Where are you weak? Where are you deluding yourself? Where are you acting out of ego instead of strategy? Most people lie to themselves constantly. They tell themselves they're not good at sales, when really they're just afraid of rejection. They say they value relationships, but they invest 0 time in maintaining them. They claim they want success, but they avoid every uncomfortable action that would create it. Machiavelli would look at this and say, "You're your greatest enemy. The world isn't stopping you, you are." So here's the ruthless question you need to ask yourself right now. What story am I telling myself that's keeping me small? Is it, "I'm not ready"? Is it, "People like me don't do that"? Is it, "I'll wait until conditions are better"? Those are comfort narratives. They protect you from failure and from success. The Machiavellian move is to name the lie, kill the story, and act anyway. And here's the second layer: emotional detachment from outcomes. Machiavelli lived through political exile, poverty, and obscurity. His writings were banned. He died largely unrecognized, but he wrote anyway, not for validation, but for truth. The ruthless mindset means you act because it's strategic, not because it feels good. You pursue goals because they align with your values and objectives, not because they'll impress people. You accept that some battles are lost, some relationships end, some plans fail, and you adapt without drama. This is the ultimate freedom. When your identity isn't tied to outcomes, you can take risks others won't. You can pivot without shame. You can fail forward because failure is just feedback. Stoics call this amor fati, love of fate. Machiavelli called it virtù, the ability to shape your destiny through skill and will, regardless of fortune. Either way, it means the same thing. You stop being a victim and start being a strategist. Affirmation: I am the architect of my own reality. Let's bring this all together with a final principle. Principle 7. Build systems that work without you. Machiavelli studied not just individuals but institutions. He asked, why do some kingdoms collapse when the king dies, while others endure for centuries? Answer: systems. The ruthless mindset isn't about grinding forever. It's about creating structures that generate results automatically. In your career, this means building processes, relationships, and reputations that compound over time. It means creating value that persists beyond your direct effort. Here's how. Automate the repeatable. Delegate the replaceable. Focus on the irreplaceable, the strategic decisions only you can make. This is how you scale influence without burning out. This is how you move from trading time for money to building leverage. In relationships, this means establishing clear boundaries and expectations up front, so you're not constantly managing conflict. It means investing in people who invest back, so relationships are renewable energy, not draining effort. It means knowing when to step back from relationships that require constant maintenance with no mutual growth. This means creating daily practices that reinforce your strategic thinking, journaling, reviewing decisions, studying history, analyzing patterns. Machiavelli didn't just react to the world, he studied it. He read ancient texts, he observed human nature. He built a mental library of strategies that he could deploy when needed. You should do the same. Read biographies, study negotiations, analyze power dynamics in your environment. Build a personal database of what works and what doesn't. And finally, ruthlessly protect your time. Machiavelli's greatest asset wasn't his network or his wealth. It was his ability to think clearly while others panicked. You can't think strategically if you're constantly reacting. You can't build leverage if you're drowning in obligations that don't serve your goals. Say no to most things so you can say yes to the right things. This isn't selfish, it's strategic self-preservation. Type this affirmation in the comment section if this resonates with you. I invest my energy where it multiplies, not where it evaporates.
So here's what we've covered. Machiavelli didn't teach you to be cruel. He taught you to be clear. Clear about how power works. Clear about human nature. Clear about the gap between what people say and what they do. The ruthless mindset isn't about dominating others. It's about refusing to be dominated by illusions. It's about seeing the game, understanding the rules, and playing to win without apology. You now know: control perception, hide your strategy, build alliances based on value, embrace conflict as data, master timing, protect your reputation, tell yourself the truth, and build systems that scale. These aren't tricks, they're principles. And principles, when applied consistently, create transformation. But here's the final truth. Machiavelli understood that most people never will. The world doesn't change. You do. The same strategies that worked in Renaissance Italy work today because human nature hasn't evolved. People still crave status, they still fear loss, they still follow strength and abandon weakness. Once you accept this, you stop fighting reality and start leveraging it. So the question isn't whether you'll use these principles. The question is, will you use them consciously and strategically, or will you keep stumbling through life wondering why things never work out? Because make no mistake, someone is using them on you. Your boss, your competitors, the algorithm is feeding you content, the politician shaping your beliefs. The only choice you have is whether you remain asleep or wake up. Machiavelli ended The Prince with a call to action, a plea for Italy to unify and reclaim its power. I'll end with a call to you. Reclaim yours.
Stop waiting for permission. Stop hoping fairness will save you. Stop pretending the world is something it's not. See it clearly, act strategically, build ruthlessly, and become the person who shapes outcomes instead of being shaped by them. Types this final affirmation in the comments section. I am awake. I am strategic. I am unstoppable. But this is only one dimension of power, because while Machiavelli taught you how to navigate external systems, there's an internal war most people lose every single day, the battle against their own mind. And that's where the next principle comes in, one that's even older than Machiavelli, one that's been hidden in plain sight for 2,000 years, and once you see it, you'll understand why most people stay stuck no matter how much they know.